All right, good morning, trade pros. Welcome to the morning market update for Wednesday, August the 29th of 2018. This is George Papsov, Trade Pro Academy. I'm using this camera again. It's not 100% the best quality, but it's very convenient. So I get to still face the computer. We got a great update for you guys today. We're going to talk about a few things. Number one, oil inventories coming up today. Number two, negotiations into NAFTA continue now with Canada. And number three, we have a new vice chairman in the Federal Reserve and what that could mean for markets. All right, so let's get started. First and foremost, we got to review some pretty important earnings from yesterday. Bank of Montreal reported a beat of estimates, up 0.2%. Stock symbol is BMO on the New York Stock Exchange. It's actually a Canadian company. It also trades on the TSX. Bank of Nova Scotia, my former employer, down 1.7% since finding out that I'm not coming back. Best Buy down 5%. And Box down 7% on weak earnings guidance. So we have pretty bad earnings this morning, actually, to be honest with you. HP beat on revenue growth, up 1.7. So there's a few stock names that are in play this morning already. In the markets globally, let's take a quick little tour around the world. In Asia, Japan's up 0.2%. Hong Kong's also up 0.2%, and China is down 0.3%. Okay, in Europe at midday, London's down 0.6, Paris flat, Frankfurt flat as well. And in the United States, all futures flat, other than NASDAQ having a little bit more of a rally than others. So tech stocks are once again leading the way. In a bullish market, you would expect FANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and the NASDAQ to lead the correlation moves of the S&P 500 as well. So there's some talk right now about Brexit on the wire. You guys just heard that in the background. Watch the cable as well, the pound, the UK pound, the sterling cable. It's got a lot of nicknames. Crude oil today is up 0.4 percentage point. Yesterday we had some really volatile price action around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. However, the pit closes at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Therefore, it's not really tradable. We only like to trade when the pit session's open, and crude opens at 9, closes at 2:30. And the volatility was based on the fact we had a draw, or rather a build of inventory. We'll talk about that in a moment. Gold's down 0.4% after hitting, get this, we were looking at 12.20. Victorio had a zone of 12.20 to 12.25. It hit 12.20 and 70 cents and curled back down $10 an ounce. So we hit our target, popped back down. At some point, there's even another long opportunity in gold, but the opportunity, the best one, has already passed. It was the first one. The second opportunity comes at lower probability. Therefore, you should probably be looking for lower risk overall in your trade if you are going to start buying gold. I'm looking for one more opportunity for a rally higher through September. All right, so Bitcoin above 7,000 for the first time. Read a really interesting article yesterday that shows Bitcoin flows are working as a safe haven asset. So when equities are dropping, Bitcoin tends to go up. And it's starting to establish itself as a safe haven player for a number of beneficial reasons. One is that you don't have to store it like you do gold. It's all digital. Two is there's anonymity to it. It's anonymous on your ownership unless you expose your wallet number to everybody, then they know. Also, it's cheaper in developing countries to send money than it would be to transfer gold and store it, and therefore it's starting to establish itself as a safe haven, which is a very interesting function of Bitcoin. And I think at the beginning, the founder, the designer of it, which is a big mystery, could be one person or many, under the moniker, what was it, Satoshi something? Yeah, Satoshi. Let's just call it Satoshi. So anywho, point I'm making is Bitcoin's finding itself a little niche in the market as a safe haven asset. Watch out for that. That's very interesting, because if we do have a bear market coming up, the one thing that could rally a lot is Bitcoin. All right, because the next smell of a collapse in the financial system would mean this could be the new replacement. That's how the crowd's going to start to think. So keep an eye out on Bitcoin if we start to get bearish. This morning we had a huge release. GDP Q2, second quarter GDP preliminary number came out at 4.2% versus 4% expected. That's the strongest GDP reading in 4 years. All right. Residential fixed investment in housing was down 1.6%. However, exports were down 9.1 versus 9.3, and imports declined quite a bit. So overall, strong GDP number. The market sort of shrugged it off. But I do think in today's session, we make one more attempt to go stronger. And I'll tell you this, in a low volatility market like we have until Monday, the way you have to trade this is get out of the way. If this thing wants to go up, you don't want to be shorting new all-time highs. All right. If there's somebody buying this thing into record highs, you have to trust that they know something that you don't. And even if you know what they know and you're still bearish and don't agree, you can't fight against the bull. There's a lot of momentum right now. I'm seeing another run to all-time highs through the rest of the week. We close and market at an all-time high, and then on Tuesday, because markets are closed on Monday, Tuesday's now September, there's going to be a whole different atmosphere. That's the real test for the S&P 500. No time for a sell-off right now. I think we continue higher through the next 2 days. All right, GDP helps that narrative also. Looking at a few numbers coming up, top of the hour, 10 a.m., pending home sales are going to come out. State Street Investor Confidence Index, and 10:30, the all-important weekly oil inventories. And I believe that the oil inventories number today will be very volatile. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. And in fact, it may very well be the last volatility event of the week. And then we go into some slower drift. All right, there'll still be opportunity, but not like oil. In oil on inventory days at 10:30 in the morning, in 1 hour of trading, you can make your whole weekly income. So I'm opening the invite for you guys to join us in the trading room today. It's going to be super fun to watch. And because there's no other volatility for the rest of the week, that compounds it into 1 day. You compress the volatility. There's going to be a lot of movement today in oil. Last night's numbers, they printed at minus 5.2 million. Wait, that's not true. Weekly API oil inventories came out at 0, so they came out flat versus minus 5.2. So that's actually an increase in the negative territory, which is why oil slid or dropped, because there's accumulation of inventory. Gasoline came out at 0 as well. Distillates were positive, and everything came out slightly more bearish, pushing energy prices lower overnight. 11:30, we got 2 auctions, a 2-year and a 7-year note, both worth around 48 billion cumulatively. And 3 p.m. we have the farm prices released. So if you're a farmer, this is for you. We started late, so we're going to go a little bit later here. Today, talks between Canada and the US continue for NAFTA. Canada got played a little bit, I'll be honest with you guys, because Mexico and the United States agreed on a trilateral agreement, which means Mexico, United States, and Canada, without Canada being part of the roundtable or the discussion. So the agreement that was made was between 2 nations that impact 3. And now the United States is saying, all right, Canada, here's what we've agreed upon. Are you part of it or not? Which doesn't really allow you an opportunity to negotiate. And as a Canadian, I got to say, that's not fair. And Justin Trudeau should not go in there and accept the terms unless they make sense. If they make sense, do it. Who cares? But if they don't make sense for your country, there shouldn't be pressure for you to accept something. All right? We got a lot of natural resources that the people need. And yeah. Interesting stuff. Watch for that. Chrystia Freeland is negotiating today as well with Robert Litzier, the U.S. Trade Representative. So listen to some news based on that, because some things could come out. Last but not least, the Senate has confirmed former PIMCO managing director. PIMCO is the massive bond fund, and Columbia University economist Richard Clarida to take the vice chairman position in the Federal Reserve. If you guys remember who the former vice president was Stanley Fischer. All right. And Stanley Fischer was dovish to hawkish, depending on the meeting. he was a swing player. He would trade on both sides. All right. So Richard Clarida is the new Federal Reserve vice chairman. And that's one of the most powerful positions at the bank, second only to Jerome Powell, the top Fed chair. There's about 7 vacancies in the Federal Reserve at the moment. Actually, no, there isn't. Sorry. 3 vacancies are still open now that we've filled the vice chair position. Here's a very interesting thing that's happening here. As of Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole Summit speech last Friday, the markets have gone up a lot. And that's because he had a market-friendly, dovish tone, right? What we've seen since then is interest rates, likelihood of an interest rate increase in March of 2019 has gone down a significant amount. And now you have a new vice chairman in the mix. So the outlook for future interest rates is becoming more dovish, which means, what does that mean? It means markets are sustained to go up. Dollar is going to go down. Commodities will probably rally. Okay, that's what you got for you guys for this morning. Tune in to our webinar tomorrow morning as well. We'll be live tomorrow and Friday. Now we have to open up the trading room with our members, and I encourage you guys to join. Today's a great day for oil inventory. If you don't like it, you got 14 days to get your money back. No questions asked. We'll give you a refund. It's not a problem. If you don't like it, we don't want to charge you for it, obviously. All right. It's important that everybody in this group likes where they're at. And that's why our community atmosphere is so strong, because we're all here out of our own will and desire to be great. And it's working. We got a lot of great people. See you guys later. Great people in the webinar. Give me 1 second. I'm coming with you in one moment. Take care, YouTube. Have an awesome day. Buy rallies. Or don't buy rallies. Buy diffs. Watch for a rally. Cheers.